There've been lots of changes, proposals, stipulations around the UK lately, and recently on the 21st of December 2023, the UK Home Office has released a document with all of the proposed changes to be effected in the coming year. So let's look at this document and what it entails. Before we dive right in, this is Japa Decoded if you're new here, and if you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much for coming. Let's get started. So they released a document on the 21st of December called the Fact Sheet on Net Migration Measures. For that details, all right. So it says on Monday, 4th December 2023, the Prime Minister and Home Secretary announced the plan to curb immigration abuse and cut net migration, which alongside the package to restrict student dependence is expected to mean around 300,000 people who would have been eligible to come to the UK under last year's rule will now not be able to do so. What exactly does the measure entail? So let's dive right in. The very first one there is stopping overseas care workers from bringing dependents and requiring social care firms in England who wish to sponsor care worker visas to be providing services regulated by the Care Quality Commission, which is CQC. All right. The second one says increasing the minimum earning threshold for skilled worker visas from 26,200 to 28,700 and raise the individual occupation going rate threshold in line with the median full-time wage for equivalent jobs in 2023. So that basically proposes increasing the minimum threshold which a skilled worker can be sponsored from 26,200 to 38,700. It further says those coming on the health and social care visa route will be exempt from the 38,700 salary threshold applied to skilled worker visas so that they can continue to bring the healthcare workers that the care sector and NHS need. They say we're also exempting education workers on national pay scale occupation. So this basically means that they're removing the threshold for those in under the health and social care visa route, all right, and also NHS workers will also be exempted from that particular rule. So if you are working with the NHS or you are under the health and social care visa, then you are exempted from that. Then it also says they are proposing to reform the shortage occupation list into an immigration salary list, ending the 20% going rate salary discount for shortage occupations, commissioning the Migration Advisory Committee (MAC) to review the composition of the list in line with the increased salary threshold. So there will be changing the name of the shortage occupation list, which we all know, to immigration salary list, and then they'll be commissioning a body to oversee or look into that particular list to ensure that all the jobs on there are meant to be there, or to take off some that are not meant to be there and review all of everything pertaining to the list. All right, so let's keep our fingers crossed and watch out for that. So it further says raise the minimum income requirement for family visas. So it says our intention remains to bring this in line with the new minimum general salary threshold for skilled workers, that's 8,700. This will ensure people only bring dependents to the UK they can support financially and will apply to all British and settled sponsors under the 5-year partner route. They said they will also raise the minimum income for family visas incrementally in stages to give predictability to families. So it's not just going to be something that will be sudden, they will do it in stages, all right? And they also said there will no longer be a separate child element to the minimum income requirement to ensure that British nationals are not treated less favorably than migrants who are required to meet the general skilled worker threshold as a flat rate, regardless of any children being sponsored. All right. So remember the MAC they mentioned earlier that are set to review the shortage occupation list, now going to be known as this immigration salary list, they said the MAC will also review the graduate route. Let's look further down into the document to see what else it says. Regarding the care and senior carer routes, it says care and senior carers, these changes will be introduced as soon as possible in the new year for the care and senior carer. So if you're a carer in the UK or you're working as a senior carer, then you need to pay attention to this. What does it say? So the first one says care workers under the code SOC code 6145 and senior care workers SOC code 6146 already in the route will be able to remain with their dependents, including extending, changing employer within this SOC codes and settlement. All right. Then it further says that means if you're already in the UK with your dependents, you can stay, so you don't need to worry about that. Then it further says where a care worker or senior care worker is in the route before the immigration rule changes but has not yet brought dependents, they will be allowed to bring dependents during their sponsorship on this visa. So if you're a senior carer or you're a carer already in the UK and your family are not yet here but you are looking to bring them, it says you can still bring them within the period of your sponsorship. All right, but after then you can no longer bring them. So going further regarding the care and senior carers, it says individuals who are in the UK on any other routes, including where that route permits dependents who switches to the care visa as a care worker or senior care worker after this date, will not be able to stay with or bring over dependents. All right, so if you are on any other route right now, be it a student visa or skilled worker visa, any other form of route, or even a visitor visa or anything, and you decide to switch to a care visa or senior care visa after this date, you will no longer be able or allowed to bring your dependents. So finally, on the care work visa, it says care providers who are sponsoring workers in exclusively non-regulated activities and therefore not required to be regulated with the CQC before the rule changes should be able to continue to sponsor those workers, including for extension to their visa on these terms, but not hire new ones. Okay, so this basically says care providers who were allowed to sponsor care workers before, aside the CQC regulations, who were exempted from the CQC regulations and already have their workers here, are still able to continue sponsoring them or extending their visas and things like that, but they are not allowed to bring in new care workers. I hope that makes sense. Okay, and on the salary threshold, it says these changes will be introduced via immigration rules with implementation in April. So all of the salary threshold they've mentioned before, it's going to be implemented in the April of the coming year 2024. So do look out for that. And for the shortage occupation list, which they said they are changing to this immigration salary list, they said the MAC will be commissioned in January to review that list. But for now, the current shortage occupation list will remain in place until the new salary threshold are put in place in the late spring of next year. So for the family immigration minimum income, it says those who already have a family visa within the 5-year partner route or who apply before the minimum income threshold is raised will continue to have their application assessed against the current income requirement and will not be required to meet the increased threshold. This will also be the case for children seeking to join or accompany their parents. Okay, so if you're already putting in your application, you've already done that, or you're looking to put in your application before that, so long as you've made your applications before that date, is going to be, as a family, it's going to be assessed in line with the previous going rate for family thresholds. But if you put in your application after that date, then the new minimum threshold applies to you. Okay, so it further says anyone granted a fiancé e-visa before the minimum income threshold is raised will also be assessed against the current income requirements when they apply for a family visa within the 5-year partner route. And finally, on that, it says those already in the UK or on a different route who apply to switch into the 5-year partner route after the minimum income threshold requirement has been increased, you will be subject to the new income requirement. So if you're on any other route and you choose to switch to the 5-year partner route, after the changes has been implemented, then you are subject to the new increased threshold. So basically what all of that is saying is anything you want to do, any application, any changes you want to make, so long as you make it before the new changes are implemented next year, then you are safe. You are still going to be assessed under the current rule. But if you make your applications after then the new rule applies to you. Then finally, on this document regarding the graduate route, okay, it says the MAC will review the visa route to ensure that it is operating in the best interest and priority of the UK and ensuring the integrity and quality of the UK higher education system is maintained. We will also commission the MAC in January and expect their work to continue until late 2024. Okay, so the body that is being commissioned to review all of these changes regarding the shortage occupation list, as well as the jobs that are meant to be there, and the graduate route, they'll be commissioned in January to begin their work and effect all of the changes. So what do you think about this changes? What do you think about this proposition? Let's hear your thoughts in the comment section. So my advice, if you have any applications to make them before the changes are effected. All right, and pray, have a plan A, B, and C if possible, if you are looking to migrate to the UK or any other Western countries. Okay, so this is where we call it off for today. Thank you so much for watching. Let's hear your thoughts in the comment section. Until I come your way again, I remain Comfort Gideon. Bye.